Hi, Bobby Palmer here, founder of Date Like a Grownup. I'm really excited because today I'm going to be interviewing my friend and my colleague, Tina Tessina. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Tina is a licensed psychologist from Southern California since 1978. So she's got over 40 years experience in counseling individuals and couples. And Tina is the author of 15 books in 17 languages, including the book Money, Sex, and Kids. Stop fighting about the three things that can ruin your relationship, which is what we're going to be talking about today. She's also written How to Celebrate Your Differences, How to Be Happy Partners, Working It Out Together. And this one, too, I love this book in particular, How to Be a Couple and Still Be Free. Tina also writes the Dr. Romance blog and the Happiness Tips from Tina email newsletter. Online, Tina is known as Dr. Romance. Dr. Tessina appears frequently on radio, on TV, on video, on podcasts, and she tweets as at Tina Tessina. And I am so excited to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you, Bobby. I'm really glad to be talking to you.
Yeah. Tina and I, by the way, go back many, many years. It's actually a really fun story, but we'll do that another day. So today we're going to be talking, like I said, specifically about Tina's book, Money, Sex, and Kids. Stop fighting about the three things that can ruin your relationship. So Tina, let's start off by you sharing why you're the expert on couples and how they argue.
Okay, well, to begin with, I'm a licensed marriage family therapist with a PhD, and I've been in private practice for more than 40 years, working with couples to help them take the fighting out of their relationships. I work with couples of all kinds, and I've developed exercises and concepts over the period of working with people that I put into a book, which couples can use to change the dynamics in their marriage or their relationship. And also, it's very useful for therapists to use as exercise with couples.
I really love that about your work, Tina, and especially about your books, because it's not all just you telling us what to do and how to do it, but giving really tangible, really actionable exercises for us to practice as a couple, right?
Yeah, they come from exercises that I've developed in my private practice. So I've tested them for many years and I've figured out how to make them as understandable and usable for the average person as possible.
Mm. I've used them, so I can vouch. Yeah, and again, it's just so much more having the experience with your partner and
Mhm.
seeing that it actually works and it actually can help so quickly. So you say that this book is the perfect peace plan for your marriage. So can you explain that? What's the peace plan part of it?
Well, I think that's the thing that couples have the most trouble with is keeping the peace in their marriage. We get reactive to each other. We get irritable and cranky, and we have to learn how to calm that down. If your tenor of your relationship is irritated, you're not going to be able to have a good sexual relationship. You're not going to be able to get done what you want to get done, and you're not going to be able to work together easily. So, to get to peace, to get from fighting and arguing and struggling and resenting to feeling peaceful and connected with each other is my goal always in relationships.
You talk about something like instead of compromise, it's another way that you can do things so somebody's not always compromising.
Yeah, I don't really believe in compromise because I think compromise tends to mean that somebody gives up something. And often it tends to mean the same person keeps giving up stuff because one person's a little more verbal or dominant or whatever in the relationship. So I believe in cooperation, which means you and me both get what we want. We're not going to give up on this working through this problem until we both get what we want. And I've never found it to not be possible. What makes
Mhm.
it not possible is that culture of arguing.
We start off early on that, right? I mean, a lot of
Oh
times
yeah.
as couples, it sort of starts off early in a relationship. This could be, so who is this good for? I mean, it seems like this would be good for any couple, no matter where they are in their relationship.
Yes, it'll work with any couple, any relationship. It even works with business relationships, with siblings, with friends, with other people that difficult people that you have to deal with at work or someplace. The techniques in there are about calming down arguments and turning them into productive discussions. So that works in any relationship, but it's especially important in intimate relationships.
Mm. And can it help before you start fighting?
Absolutely.
Like, is it
Uh,
preventative?
Sure, sure. If you learn how to communicate your thoughts in a way that isn't um, scary to your partner, doesn't make your partner think that you don't care about them, or their thoughts don't count, or whatever. If you learn to communicate in a way that your partner can easily receive, then you'll never have to fight. And fighting is not necessary in relationships.
Yeah, I wonder. So you don't think we have to, it's almost like people think that it's just naturally part of any relationship. It's got to
hmm
happen. What do you
hmm
think about that?
Well, in the book, there's a section called myths about fighting. And there's a whole bunch of things like fighting is normal in a relationship. It may be common, but it doesn't have to be there. It doesn't do anything good. When you're fighting, you're not accomplishing anything. You're just digging the hole a little deeper. So if you can learn how to work together without fighting and back off when it gets too heated, and then come back to it, at a in a calmer way, then you actually get somewhere with your talk. It doesn't matter what you say when you're saying it at top volume, it's not going to be heard.
Mm. I'm smiling because I've been married 14 years. I get this. Yeah. And there's also the idea that there's avoidance, right? This sort of like avoids avoidance. Does that make sense?
hmm That's
When you have,
right.
because it's a skill. This is a
It
really
Yeah,
important
it's a
skill
whole
to learn.
set of skills. It's what I call the technology of
Mm,
relationships. It's a whole set of skills that you can use to make your relationship go well, so that it doesn't suck up all of that fighting and carrying on and not getting along doesn't suck up all of the time you have. Instead, you can bypass all that and get right to the good stuff. Get
mm.
right to making plans, carrying out plans, getting close to each other, having a good time.
Good
Fighting
sex.
interrupts all of that.
So, so there's 1,000 million trillion relationship books out there, right, Tina?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how is this book different?
Well, in the first place, it's written by me. And what's good about that is I've been doing 40 plus years of couple counseling. So I know what I'm talking about. And I have very good success in my practice with getting couples past their irritation with each other and back into working well together. So it's based on that. It's based on something that really works. It's not just somebody's fantasy of what makes you get along.
Yeah, tested. Like,
It's tested, time tested, couple tested, relationship tested. Absolutely.
and this, I assume this works for any couple, hetero couple, gay couple,
Gay
all different kinds of
couples, yeah,
groups.
mixed racial. It's really helpful for mixed couples who are like
Mm,
different races, different religions. There's a whole section in the book about how you can talk about your differences. Like, I find very often in my practice, couples get together. One may be Catholic and the other one Jewish, or whatever, Muslim,
mhm,
anything, and they don't think about it. It's interesting to them when they're a new couple, and they
yeah,
enjoy talking about it, and they don't worry about it. And it's pretty easy to find a liberal, somebody who will marry you or just get married by a judge. But when children come along, all of a sudden, religion rears its head.
mm,
And then both families are tugging at you, aren't you going to raise them in our religion, and what are you going to do? and it gets very contentious. And the couple are blindsided about that because they didn't care about it when they got together. But all of a sudden, children make it a different thing.
Yeah.
So there's a whole section in there about how to blend your religions and how to work it together and how to teach your children about everything so that
Yeah.
they can make their own choices when they grow up, and then how to deal with your extended family, how to present a united front to your extended family, and get that to work. And that's a part of the kids part of Money, Sex, and Kids is that's one of the things that comes up.
Wow. I can't imagine if this is kind of like, a Bible. I love the idea of thinking that couples, just like they go to couples counseling in advance, right?
Hmm.
Like to be, because like you said, things are interesting at first, and then
Yeah,
they become real,
everything's
and then they
interesting.
become real. Yeah. Well, that's so cool that we're different that way. And then it's like, hey, what do you mean?
What do you mean you don't like to paint your toenails green at Christmas? It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's really
And
interesting. They,
and we take it so personally when the other person, the person, there's an assumption when you first fall in love and you're in that rush of
mhm.
excitement about somebody, and wow, finally I found somebody who gets me and all that stuff. There's an assumption that that person, because they love you and because you love them, you're going to understand each other and you're going to agree. And that just isn't true. You're going to be all, no matter how much you love each other and care about each other, there are going to be all kinds of things you're different about, just from how rapidly you talk. If one of you talks slower than the other one, that's going to become a problem in your relationship after a while, because the more verbal person's going to dominate and the less verbal person. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's in my
Who
marriage
talks
too.
more? Yeah. Who talks more?
Right.
We always do.
Well, we're the ones on the video, right? We're the talkers. And
Yeah.
my husband's a wonderful guy, but he's not a fast talker. He takes his time to think about what he's saying, and he doesn't want to be pushed into into making decisions he's not hasn't thought through yet. So I had to learn that about him. And he had to learn that I have no ill will toward him when I come on like a bulldozer. It's just who I am. It's just how I do it. And so we've been 39 years now, so we've figured it out, but it took a while.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. I wanted to make sure that the people that are watching and listening to this understand not only have you been, working as a psychologist for 40 years, you've been in a marriage for almost 40 years,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
It's
they
not
happen
like,
to coincide pretty closely. I got licensed and then I met Richard. So
wow.
yeah, and it's true. I use these techniques and skills in my own marriage. I have taught him to use some of these techniques and skills so that we can do it together, and it works like a dream. We're very different people, he and I, but we get along very well because we have these skills.
Wow. Well, honestly, thank you for the work that you do. I mean, you save people's lives, like, because what's more important than a good relationship, right? And what's
Mhm.
more important than actually getting to know your partner in a way that's honest and true? And you've saved a lot of marriages, I bet. Well, you
Yeah,
have.
I've saved a lot of relationships of all kinds, and or I haven't saved them. The people in them have saved them, but I've taught them how. I've
Yeah.
given them the tools they need to to save their own marriages, because I can't really fix anybody or change anybody. I just show the way. Show the path. But yes, it's been very successful, and I have a lot of people who say to me, thank you for saving my relationship. And that's because this stuff works. And
Hmm.
I know it works because I use it myself, and I use it everywhere. I use it with, you know, people that I meet who might be upset with me for some reason. I can calm them right down. No problem. Because I know these skills and they're in the book and you can learn them and they're not difficult. It's not rocket science. The difficult part about it is changing your habits, changing your instant reaction, and it even tells you skills to do that.
Mm, I think I need to make sure my husband reads this book, Tina.
Well,
Not
here's
me, of
here's a
course.
tip. Here's a tip to influence your husband, okay? Don't tell him about it. Just leave it lying around
Oh,
where he might pick it up. And every once in a while, you can look at the book and pick out something that you think he'd be interested in and read him just those 2 or 3 sentences. Look at this. I never thought of this before. And read those. Here's some myths about anger that I think are really interesting. And just get him interested and then leave the book around. He won't be able to resist it. But if you push it at him, it'll never happen.
that's really good. That's good. And let me just wrap that up by saying that's like a really good reason to buy the book, right? To actually, especially the book, like tangible. You can get it
Hmm.
online, right? But
Hmm.
you can also get it like the
Yeah, that you
old-fashioned
get the
way.
fits in paperback and Kindle format. So
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you again for helping so many people for so long and just being, the advice that you give is so tangible and so real life. And it's not just, oh, I read this in a book. It's like, I'm going to do this and get instant results. So that's really great, great part of what you sort of give to the world, Tina.
thank you, Bobby. And I feel just as grateful to know you, to have you in my life with all of your skills and your wonderful way of bringing people together, getting to meet in the first place. Because what I teach isn't any good until people meet each other, right? So that's where you come
We're a
in.
team.
So
We're a
we are
team.
a team. We work great together.
We do. All right. I adore you. Thank you for your time and be good to yourselves, everybody. Bye, Tina.
Thank you.